What is up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. Guys, we have a super random diecast in the studio. It is a 2004 Rusty Wallace Special Commemorative Edition car. Now, it is a 2004 mold, but I think it was actually released in 2005, as 2005 was his final year. Regardless, this one's got some wear to it, but we're going to go ahead and take a closer look. All right, fellas, so here is the package off of the rotating base. Now, in 2005 and 2004, they kind of had two style Winter Circle Edition cars. You had the tall card backs, which had the plastic accessory to go with it. And then you had these that had the base on there. These were traditionally the alcoholic cars. So you might see a Sterling Marlin Coors car, a Coors Light car, then you would see a Dale Jr. Budweiser, naturally Rusty Wallace with Miller. This one does have the Miller Lite logos on there, so naturally it's going to be on a plastic base. But this one has seen some wear. It's definitely probably something you would use as a donor. Not only is the plastic yellowed, check out the back panel of this. It is sun bleached. So this is the perfect one to open up. As I mentioned this on almost all these old school diecast reviews, I try not to open up the non-overproduced cars. These are overproduced. And if they're damaged, then I'll open them up. I don't mind opening up the damaged ones. Because, I mean, like, do you really want to display this? I mean, look how sun-bleached it is. There's plenty of these out there. So what probably happened with this one, this was probably in a tool shed, a garage, a man cave, something like that. I'm assuming maybe it fell. Like, it was on like a little thumbtack or something. It fell. And it was sitting somewhere where it could be exposed to heat or sunlight for an extended period of time. Naturally, you can see some dirt and grease here, so maybe it fell down, and whoever owned it before maybe didn't worry about it. And naturally, the sunlight got to it and it cooked. Or, another theory, maybe someone put this in their window area and maybe had like a little window seal, and the sun was reflective on this side, while this side was displayed in the room, and that's how it yellowed. That's just my theory. Anyways, enough of me being a nerd. Let's go ahead and carefully open up this diecast. All right, fellas, check out this diecast in the studio. So as I was looking at it before I, pressed the record button, I'm looking at the plastic condition of this car. And from this perspective, it looks like the windows are roached, right? But then I'm looking at this little plastic piece right here in front of the window net. And it doesn't really have much plastic behind it, and it almost looks very clear. So I'm assuming that I might take this one apart one day. I don't know, because it's roached, right? And it's overproduced. But I'm thinking the plastic windows might actually still be non-yellowed, because they're made of two different plastics. You can see how, like, half of the dashboard is yellowed and the other half isn't. So maybe there's a chance the plastic windows are okay. It's hard to tell. Like, you have to kind of look at it from this perspective. Like, look how bright clear that color is. That's a great sign that the windows can be saved off this car. And then the interior, you could just paint it, And then there you go. Now you got a non-yellow diecast. So this was a commemorative car that was probably released very late 2004 or early 2005, maybe even before Dodge had their Dodge Charger mold ready to go for 2005. For those who don't know, 04 they ran the Intrepid, which is this body style, and in 2005 they ran the Dodge Charger, as it was, I believe, debuting as a production car around that time as well, or returning, I should say. It's got Rusty's last call right there, Penske Racing. This guy raced so long in NASCAR. It's insanity. He raced from, 1984 to 2005. And one of the things that I respect so much about Rusty Wallace in his NASCAR career is when he called it a career, he never came back. He did the little Daytona test in, 2013, but that was it with Brad Keselowski. That's it. He never came back, did a one-off start. When he was retired, he was done. You could almost say the same thing about Dale Jr. When he retired from Cup racing. At the time of this video, in 2025, he never returned. So it is kind of interesting. In a day and age where so many drivers retire and then they come back, and then they retire and they come back. I understand things change, but it's just something about Rusty Wallace never coming back I actually have a lot of respect for. So I'm looking at the paint scheme here, and there's like a metallic shimmer with the little ribbon design. So this has got some texture, different types of paint. I like that. or decal wrap, I should say. You got Dodge. I like the yellow font there. Let's get a closer look at the front of the car. And that blue ribbon you see across the front of the nose, you can see it has a little bit of a metallic shimmer to it. This is one of those cars that I traditionally don't really collect because it's kind of a fantasy car, or I say kind of, it is. It's a fantasy car that I'm not really a big fan of. But you know what? I had it. I'm like, why not? Let's do a diecast review. Now you got the front headlights there. You got the Dodge Intrepid nose. I love the 04 Dodge body. I think it looks fantastic. Did some Casey Kane diecast reviews. It's a very underrated year for Dodge. Very underrated. Let's go to the left side of the car. You have 55 NASCAR Cup wins. Keep in mind, he was racing against Petty, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip. I mean, and then he had to deal with Mark Martin. Then he had to deal with, oh my goodness, Tony Stewart. All these guys coming up. He had an amazing NASCAR career. 1984 Rookie of the Year. He won the championship in 1989. Fantastic stuff. And he didn't win it with Penske. He won it with, I believe, Blue Max Racing or something like that. With Pontiac, I believe. Got the Rusty's Last Call logo there, the number 2. You have your Goodyear Eagles. One cool thing about the plastic bases is they kind of sealed the wheels down so they don't move. So if you wanted to pose them a certain way, you could. Like if you had a race diversion diecast and you wanted them to look a certain way, like as if they were in victory lane, a little plastic base like this would do you good. Oh yeah, they use pretty much the same plastic base style that they still use today. I'm not even kidding you. The little one side having kind of a large little screw area and then having the singular screw area is verbatim the exact way they do the Winter Circle Authentics here in the 2020s. So that's kind of cool. And this being a Winter Circle diecast is kind of funny as well. Go to the back panel of the car. You don't even see a number 2 on the tail lights or the front headlights. So that's one thing that kind of irks me a little bit. Dodge there. Go to the right side of the car. You have 88 and 1993 Driver of the Year. That's interesting. You have 36 NASCAR Cup poles. That's pretty cool. I like that. Go to the top of the car. You have Rusty Wallace Incorporated, which I think was his Busch Series team. I could be tripping on that, but he had a Busch team for a while, I think. And then you go over here to the deck lid. As already mentioned, NASCAR Cup champion. Fantastic stuff. His final Cup Series win was Martinsville 2004. They made a raced version diecast for that. I would love to get that in the studio one day. Probably don't want to get it if it's brand new because I don't want to open up that car. I feel like it's probably going to be, I mean, I say probably going to be, it was released 21 years ago. But sometimes I don't want to open up those cars because I feel like they're going to be really rare someday and I don't want to destroy it, you know. Some of the cars I like to somewhat keep in pristine for other collectors, you know what I'm saying? But you can even see some decal wrap that wasn't trimmed. This is probably something that was offered as a pre-order sometimes in 2004. Probably very close to when he announced his final year. I don't know when he did, but this is a time where NASCAR was mainstream. It was just the second or third most popular sport in America. So if Rusty Wallace announces retirement, they're going to have the whole merchandise fleet ready to go right after it. So all his fans could go and pre-order his final year stuff. That's what I'm assuming. I think they had this paint scheme, believe it or not, in NASCAR Chase of the Cup or NASCAR 06. I think it was NASCAR 06. It was some sort of a Rusty's Last Call fantasy paint scheme. Naturally, it didn't have the Miller Lite logos, but I think it was in NASCAR 06. You could unlock it with the little chase plate points. And you could actually race with it. The only bugaboo about it is it didn't have a roof logo, I don't think. I think it was this exact render, just modified with the, no Miller Lite logos. I could be off by a country mile on that. But I remember them having some sort of commemorative Rusty Wallace paint scheme on one of the the mid-2000s NASCAR games. So, thank y'all so much for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What a fantastic looking paint scheme. If you're interested in any of the new stuff, make sure to tap it over there at Circle B Diecast. I get all the new diecast over there. If you're looking for maybe some older diecast, check out CircleBDiecastAuctions.com. I have also a little bit of a promo code for that so you can try it out. It's help you save as well. They have a lot of older diecasts, and they're like dirt cheap. They also have some super rare diecast. I'm talking like 2011 Cup Series Race to Win 124s, special finishes, autographs, DIN numbers. They got all kinds of crap that you can't find. I'm telling you. Some of the cards they've had over there on their auction site, I didn't even know existed, okay? Check them out. They have some super good deals. Some of the diecast, like 124s, cheap as like $10, right? And it's an auction. You never know. You could get it cheaper. It could, you could be in a bidding war. You never know. Make sure you tap in over there. Check it out. It's actually really freaking cool. If you're into the auctions, hey, tap in. That's all for now. Thank you all for watching. Have a blessed one. Diecastbuffet signing off.